That's the team that plays to win for you and me.
Welcome back, Shimboners. A very eventful night one of the AFL draft is in the books. FOS's a roo, lots happening, and a late trade that has sent the North socials into meltdown. Here to help me break it all down, provide some analysis, and more than likely provide a laugh, the big Chief as usual. Welcome, Chief. How are we?
Yes, pretty good, Baz. Very happy with our selections. The proof will be in the pudding, won't it, as to where we've overpaid. But Finn O'Sullivan, FOS, very happy with him. Best available. Should have very likely a number one pick, except he had a bad run of injuries this year, little niggly hands and things, so he couldn't get to his best form, but still showed glimpses. He was a clear standout number one in his under 16 year and very good in his under 17 year as well. This time last year, he was touted as the likely number one, probably along with Ashcroft. So very happy to get him.
And Welsh.
Welsh fell off the cliff, but yes, he'll get picked up very late.
Yeah, that's one of the biggest fall-offs I've ever seen.
I'd say it is, yeah, because Cal Toomey normally does his, in the next couple of days after this draft, he'll do his predictions, top 10 players to watch, whatever, for next year, and Welsh was right up there last year.
Father-son, for those who aren't fully across from the Adelaide Crows.
Yes, also North, but Scott didn't play enough games for us, so he was a premiership player.
Yes, Tyler Welsh, the player we're speaking of.
Yes.
But, great news with FOS. There was a lot of talk actually, about Alex Tarue. And then we saw pick one, Tigers take Sam Layla. Then pick two, before North have locked in the pick, you see lots of trade updates coming in. And with all the talk about sliding back a couple, you think, oh, gee, have we done a deal with Adelaide here? Potentially Carlton or someone else. I don't think there was many other takers, but... pick two, Finn O'Sullivan, another midfielder, which upset a lot of North supporters, but I don't think we had the key position players in the top 10 to justify taking one with pick two.
No, and as we saw, obviously they didn't know this, although they might have had some inside knowledge, all the key position players all slid right to the back end of the first round, and there's still some good ones on the board as we speak, waiting for be snapped up in night two.
Yeah, so for those who aren't quite across Finn's journey from the Oakley Chargers, he's 182 midfielder. He's athletic. He's really wiry. He needs to get into the gym, but he's going to be a really good player. Great ball use, great footy IQ. Will make an impact fairly early, I reckon. Has the ability to play multiple positions as well. He can play on ball, wing, half back, half forward. Very much a utility. So, although I'll put my hand up on this podcast. I said if we drafted another 180 centimetre mid, I'll straight up spew.
I'll get the bucket.
Yeah, but particularly the last two rounds and the first 10 this year, just showed we need more midfield depth. We got found out too much through there, but it really puts the pressure on Tom Powell, Will Phillips.
Yes, it does. But we want pressure. I mean, we haven't done our best 23, but it's going to be a lot harder than last year. And we always think it's hard because Will Phil was on the periphery and he's one of our favourites. We wanted him in the team, but it's everyone available with who we've traded in, senior players. You'd expect them to all get in the team. And then, who players like FOS and Big Game Zane, and there's going to be some good players miss out.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting. The likes of Eddie Ford as well, they'll be on the
I can't see him in it. I know he's one of your swagger men, but no, I can't see Eddie in the team. All available. Back to FOS, he's got speed and endurance, so great combination and a great leap. He's 182, but he's got a good leap and a good mark, so he can probably play a bit taller than he is.
Yeah, I'd like to see him follow the mould of our first draft picks the last couple of years and just potentially slide into half-back, particularly early. Obviously, I'm massive on Josh Goda.
Yes.
And I can't imagine he'd be playing AFL football in the first month. So potentially a role for him there with Colby moving up the ground.
Yep.
Fisher in big strife to keep his spot.
Well, there's another one who won't make the best 23, I'd imagine. I haven't put pen to paper yet. That'll probably be a January pod.
That'll be our debut pod of 2025,
Yes,
I imagine.
but I can't see him getting a gig. So very excited for FOS. I can see him going back there. He's a good user, as we said, and he's a low possession but high impact. So he'll get more possessions going to half back. That's playing his normal role of midfield forward. He could also go forward and just, good user, snag a couple of goals.
You can see it's a high priority for Clarkson. Sheasel, McKercher, now FOS. All great users. All very smart footballers.
Yeah. Turnover is a killer in modern football. So if you've got good users and, good footy IQ, you shouldn't be turning the ball over, and we can be more aggressive. Get it down to Big Darling.
Yeah. I was thinking more Larky, but...
they're going to still fall to Larky. Darling be on his own.
Yeah, well, the big Finbar might be in there.
Big Finbar, burning the track up.
Just one more on FOS. It was good video the club shared with the families. And his old man did a bit of training down at North.
Yes, I didn't realise that because he obviously didn't play a game, and he was there with under Shimmer, my man Shimmer, I'm going off track again, back to that bloody video. What's he done to upset the hierarchy? He's one of our greatest ever players. He would have been shinbone of the century if it wasn't for Arch. I reckon it was neck and neck between those two, and he couldn't get a gig.
Yeah.
What the hell's going on? Anyway, that's another whole grime like ears type podcast. But Shimmer should have been in there. Anyway, back to his.
Just quickly for our listeners, we did touch on the no pagan, limited pagan, no carey, no Shimmer on the our Instagram live, and thank you to everyone who tuned into that. But yeah, back to FOS's old man.
Yeah, so he was training under Shimmer, and then obviously Shimmer got the sack, and Dennis came in, and Dennis obviously told him to go for a run home, and don't bother coming back. It was a bit harsh. But yeah, obviously Dennis, he wasn't in his plans.
No, and just I want to move on quickly to talk about Levi Ashcroft.
Yes.
Slid to pick 5, widely regarded by a lot of draft experts that he's the best player in this draft.
Yeah.
I think it's a disgrace on our club and the other clubs that are trying to keep good relationships by not bidding on him. Absolutely ridiculous. Particularly Carlton, who have got one of the softest draws. They'll be top 4 next year. Would you not want to make the reigning premiers pay top price for one of the best kids in the land, if not the best kid?
Yes. Well, go back to Richmond. They did a trade, didn't they, for pick 20, which was our compensation pick, if you go way back. Or what it might have been 22 by the time it's fit. But anyway. And maybe there was a little bit of a wink, wink, nudge, nudge. But the clubs like getting the number 1 pick to their club. So I can understand Richmond, but we should have bid on him. Because if they don't match it, we get a great player.
Yeah.
But they're always going to match it because they've traded back out of the draft to get all the back-end points. So they don't want players that pick 44, 45, 46. So they want the number 1 or top 5 player. So make them pay. They're the premiership team. Then they get another one, Marshall. He's slid to the mid-20s, didn't he? So they've got unders. Brisbane, the reigning premiers, and they've got a lot of injured players to come back who would be regulars in every other team. So
they've stolen the draft.
Absolutely. Them and Richmond have really won, and Richmond only because they traded out and got a lot of picks. And they couldn't really miss.
But I understand Richmond, you're building a new phase of the club, you want the number 1 pick.
Yeah.
I don't have an issue with that. But the other, North, Carlton and Adelaide...
Why didn't Adelaide bid on him? Why didn't Carlton? And why didn't we? Just make him pay.
Ridiculous.
Anyway, we'll move on. We're up about FOS at the moment.
Yes.
So,
and then one of the players that a lot of supporters were really keen on, Alex Tarue, slid down to St Kilda.
Yes.
And you think the North socials were bad. You should have seen St Kilda's because they are in desperate need of midfielders and they're the opposite of North. So all we do is draft mids and they are allergic to drafting mids. They drafted 2 defenders and those socials were going off. And it was very funny to read until about an hour later when ours went ballistic, which we'll cover it shortly. But yes.
Yeah, that's... we all fell in love with the Viking, the Flying Viking. Thought he'd be a good fit for us, but pick 2 was overs to pay for him, I think. So, and obviously we were trying to trade back into the draft, as was revealed by Riley Beveridge.
So after St Kilda's first selection, we, from then on, offered our future first to every club. And I think that demonstrates how much the recruiters fell in love with this draft, that they won't trade out.
No one wanted to trade.
Which it could be a top 2 pick. We're hoping it's not. And obviously the club, big man Toddy Viney's obviously it's time to win now.
We're on the rise, baby. That's what they're thinking.
But if that just shows how deep the draft is, if even at pick 20, 21, 22, they're not trading out.
Yes. Yeah, and there were a couple of, I think, was it Sydney who picked someone who was ranked about 80?
Yeah, 86.
Yeah, so there were...
Ned Bowman, never even heard of him.
Yeah, they must have had intel that someone else was going to nab him, because you think you'd let that sort of pick slide and get him with a later pick. But anyway, it's very deep and even.
I tell you...
And there were a lot of teams, were allergic to key position players, particularly forwards, weren't they?
Yeah, that's you perfectly segued into mine, because the Giants, they just look for someone 175 centimetres that applies pressure.
Little tip rats. They love the little tip rats thrown around the forward line, up and back, up and back.
Oh, no, but I couldn't believe... we'll start to talk about some of these key position players. I mean, Luke Traynor, who was probably the first love of North fans that wanted to draft.
A North...
grandson of Doug Wade.
And I think his mum worked at the club, and he was a North supporter. He could have joined the bigger North supporter.
There's plenty
players,
of them.
led by my man X.
Yeah, Miller Bergman. I think it's probably led
we won't go through them all.
Probably led by Elmac, to be fair.
No, X has taken over.
But yeah, Luke Traynor slid to 21 to Richmond, and they'll be stoked with that.
And he was a top 5 this time last year, and first half of all this year, top 5. I won't say lock, but he was rated in the top 5, and big slider.
Yeah, just quickly focusing on Richmond for a sec, because they had so much of the first.
Well, it was a Richmond draft, wasn't it?
They also got Josh Smiley at pick 7, who at the start of the year was regarded as the best player.
Number one
in the draft. And then pick 23, which is... Our group chat was going off, because I was thinking, get in now, there's still so much talent.
Yes.
Harry Armstrong slid to 23, which was a big surprise as well.
And there was talk of Melbourne probably targeting him. If we'd have swapped with Richmond, Melbourne would take him before us at 5. But yeah, big slider. And as you said before, no one wanted to trade out.
No, that was the surprise.
So I think Brady was on the phone, as we've mentioned, from pick 8, trying to get a trade done. But, you can be willing, you can be offering the future first, but someone's got to buy it. And there were no buys until the last pick of the first round.
And just for our listeners out there, all the word is that the 2025 draft next year is heavily compromised with academies and father-sons is the word.
Yes. So if we rise, say we finish, let's say finish 13th. That'll be pick 5. So that'll probably push out to 10-ish.
But yeah, so then we saw, and this is what all the listeners will be waiting for our opinions on this. North, the last pick of the night, 27.
Yep.
The Tigers have, the trade comes in. We trade our future first for pick 27 and a future second, which lock it in, it'll be pick 19, I reckon.
Yes.
Can't say Richmond finishing above 18th. Hopefully it's not us.
It'll be pick 19, but then as we just mentioned, it'll be blown out by free agency compo, father-sons, NGAs. So it'll be in the probably mid-20s.
So I was on the message with you on the Frog thinking, here we go. Job Shanahan's going to join the Roos. Great selection.
Yep.
And we're all very shocked to see the name Matt Whitlock read out.
Yes.
And of course, we're massively on his train now as he's now a shin boner, but very surprising.
Yes, and how pumped was he? Yeah. I love it. He was pumped to be coming to the shin boners. So we love that. And he was the junior burger of the Twins, wasn't he? A little bit shorter, but I think he's a lot more versatile. He kicked 27 goals. He didn't play out of 14 games. And he played back a lot of the time.
He was the All-Australian fullback.
All-Australian fullback, so he's a classic swing man. And I don't know how well he goes in the ruck, but at 197 he could probably pinch hit.
It was a bit of a shock because a lot of the Phantom drafts I read had his brother as the higher of the two.
I think they all did, all the ones I read. Yeah, so big shot. Obviously, North love what they see. I think he's Well, he's more versatile than his brother, and I think he's a bit better below his knees. And I think he may have even played a few games or had time on the wing.
Yeah.
At 197.
Let's just talk about the trade for a second, because I'm thankful we're doing the pod the following day, because I was pretty ropeable last night. I would have liked to see, and obviously we fell in love with the player, so we did what we had to do. But we got shafted. We should have got both our selections. They have the first pick tonight.
Yes, they wouldn't do that, but that would have been gold if we'd have got both of them. But as you said, their future second should be a low pick in that draft. And also, let's not forget about the club are backing us in to rise. So, when we win the premiership next year, that'll be pick 18. And so it won't be that big a slide.
Only slide one pick.
Yeah. So that's the chief glass overflowing with positivity.
I think the club has got to the point where this is the last big draft, and we've got to make our leap, as you just mentioned, and then just hope with the progress we can attract really good free agents, trade players, and we can top up that way. Next year, another thing with it also being heavily compromised is it's like most drafts going to be midfield heavy. So if we have pick 5 and you do best available again, you're not getting any key position talent.
No, that's right. I think the club must have rated him top 10-ish, wouldn't they?
Yeah.
Either top 10 or just outside, and think, well, we're going to pay a price. They wouldn't pay it for the Viking, but they've paid it for him next year. And who knows? If we do have what we've been waiting for how long? 5 plus years, we actually have a spike. I mean, imagine if we did what Hawthorn did this year. They were projected bottom 4, and they've finished, top 6?
Exactly.
So if we can do that, we'll be looking back here next year saying, sucked in Richmond.
There's going to be a lot of pressure. And I actually feel sorry for Whitlock himself, because he's going to be attached to all that pressure because we have traded out the future first, which is no fault of his.
No.
But the added extra pressure on him to be able to perform is going to be next level.
It'll be higher than the pressure of a number 1 pick.
Yeah.
Or as high. Because if we ever start like this year, next year, and we're 0-9...
And our draw in the first 10 weeks is tough.
Yeah, they're going to be saying, "What have you done, North?" And but we'll back the club in, because they know more than we do. They know more than anyone else does. They obviously rate him, and other clubs, I suppose, the negative. Other clubs didn't rate him because they passed on him. So we back him in. It'll be a watch, and it'll be a big talking point all next year, unless we're 10-1.
Yeah, he was the only the second key forward taken is another talking point as well.
And Fall went earlier.
Oh, sorry, he was the third. I forgot.
Armstrong, yeah. Fall went probably earlier than expected. He looks like, I think Whitlock's still got a lot of filling out and growth, whereas Fall looks more, he's got the body of a man already, and has he got as much upside? I think Whitlock's got massive upside. He's going to keep improving. And that swingman, we've tried to get it with CCJ, Ford, Ruck, that's a fail. We need that swingman.
Yeah, and it's a positional need. We need key stocks.
Yep.
So we've taken the risk, and a big risk it is. And if we finish bottom 2, I think he's it's almost career on the line for him.
So,
I'm not trying to make a joke of it. I'm serious.
Well, they blew up last night, the socials, apparently. You were telling me. Imagine what they're going to do next year if we do finish bottom 2.
But as I put on my socials, I was flat, but then I thought, you don't walk out of a movie halfway through at the cinema and said the story doesn't make sense.
No.
You've got to see it through. So I'm anticipating tonight, and I'll be keenly watching to see if we use that future 2 from Richmond to get back in tonight. Because if we can get back in tonight and grab my man, Job Shanahan, as well, then he's basically traded the future first to get 2 gun key forwards.
Yes, or the other, we'll have 2 second-round picks, Richmond's and ours, next year. The whole academy bidding thing, point system is changing. That they're only getting a 10% discount, not a 20%. So they'll be worth good points, and we'll be able to bundle them up and trade back into the first round next year if there's someone who we like. So that's another possibility.
Yeah, so
it doesn't all hang on tonight.
No, exactly.
Round 2 and 3, 4 of the draft. We can just hold them and there'll be a lot of clubs chasing points next year, and 2 second rounders, especially Richmond's early. Ours will be late because we're going to be playing
With the
finals.
flag.
We're finals bound, baby.
But that I can see us, if we do hold on to that future 2, easily trading back into the draft. So say, like this year with Essendon, they traded out pick 9, which it looks funny now because Kako didn't go till the teens. And with the way the clubs were soft on bidding, they probably shouldn't have traded it. But I could see a situation like that where they want to trade back to get the extra points and not have to use that pick.
Yep.
Not get that eaten up, so we could trade back into the top 10 potentially as well.
Yes.
And another point I just want to make, because I've thought of the pros of this, because I was very negative last night, and I've done some reflection. It's also, next year is the first year you can trade 2 years in advance. So if we find a player next year, say in between the 6 to 12 range, the gun, key forward or key back that we really want, we can also trade 2 years in advance the picks to get back into it if we want to. But the issue with that is, obviously, Tassie coming in.
Yes.
Those picks will be diluted.
Yes, but I mean, let's look at the positive. We've got Whitlock, All-Australian centre full back, as you said. We've got young Dawson, who's put on 13 kegs, and they're the future. Key pillars down back, lock them in. Get my man Chom up forward.
I was about to mention Chom. Well, where do you think Whitlock's best position is?
I think he'll start back, and the beauty of him is if someone gets injured or someone's just not performing up forward, throw him up forward. He'll snag you a couple.
Yeah.
Thinking David Dench.
The versatility.
Or Ross Glendenning, start back and just, if we're in a bit of trouble, throw him forward for a couple of snags in the last quarter.
Well, if you're listening, Matt, no pressure.
No pressure. We're watching where we finish next year and it's all on you. And then no, not at all. No, he's a shin boner. He was very excited. Like, that won me over straight away. There was no sooking it up. Who was the GWS player? Tanner Bruin, who had the sulks big time, and even Dan Curtin last year, he had the sulks.
Yeah, keep an eye on that.
Yeah.
Next year.
When he got drafted to Adelaide and West Coast didn't do a deal, which I'm pretty sure he was probably thinking they would. So no sulks from our boys. Finn, very happy. Whitlock, very happy. Ecstatic.
Just the...
and beat out his big brother. I don't know if he's older, but he's taller. So
the contrast of emotions. One, they're both in tears. One, because he missed out on night 1. He'll definitely get picked up tonight.
No, definitely.
And the other, because he was the last pick and the wait's finally over to start his dream. But
okay,
I can understand. We've just listed the positives, but I can understand a lot of anger from the North fans at what could possibly be a massive cock up.
Oh, it could end up with egg all over your face. But yeah, that's why they paid the big bucks. But they know the draft, the future draft, and this draft better than we do.
Yeah, and then we're 5 years into a rebuild. We finished bottom 2, 5 years in a row. It's time to start now.
Yep.
So they're going chips in.
This young group stay together.
And it could cock up and backfire, or it could be we could be sitting here in 12 months' time going, gee, that was a good move from Brady.
Yep.
So the only thing we'll be
able to do... It's gutsy. It's ballsy. Ball's on the line.
Yeah. The only thing...
Can I say that on the pod?
Of course you can. The only thing we can use to judge it is time.
Yes,
so,
that's right.
Bit of positivity, I don't really know.
Yeah, well...
I wouldn't have predicted this last night.
Everyone's a winner on draft night. Every club supporter will be doing the same, except for maybe the Saints are still sucking it up. They haven't got a midfielder.
Yeah, and the Giants will be going, can we draft someone over 180 centimetres?
Yes, or the North community want, not just 180, 183 midfielders. And, the Giants just tip rat.
Yeah.
Right. 175 tip rats.
So let's look at tonight's draft. River Stevens expected to be taken with our final selection, if not the rookie draft. It would be interesting to see what we do in terms of potentially trading back in. Still a lot of quality left on the board. What do you think?
Yes, well, with Stevens coming in, I don't think we'll be going for a small forward because we've got, obviously, if we get him, or if he might even slide to the rookie draft, but he's obviously on our radar. Small forward. We've got Castanti in the trade period, so I don't think we'll be after a small forward. I think we'll go probably another key position, and I've got my eye on Harry O'Farrell. He's about 197, backman, swingman, a bit like Whitlock, I suppose. But the big upside with him is his father. Do you know who he is?
I don't. Who's
Well,
his
his father is the Carlton lawyer.
father? No way.
Who gets everyone off. Remember Cripps?
Yep.
Got him off and won him a Brownlow because he got him off what was a certain 3-week suspension for knocking someone's head off.
Well, we've got to draft him.
He gets everyone off. So draft him and then CC. He can sponsor the CCC. They can just go out and smash everyone as hard as they like. Big X and just call in. Here, come in, Dad. Come in. You're going to court on Tuesday.
Big Jacko, he'll be
get him off. Yeah, it'll just be fantastic. So big bit of hidden treasure there if we whoever drafts him.
I like it. I like it a lot. There is some. Our picks come into 53, I believe.
Yeah, around that mark. And if someone bids on the Carlton twin, Camporelli, probably only come in one more because I think they've only got one pick ahead of us. But someone needs to make them pay the price.
There's still plenty.
Hopefully it's Brisbane to pay them no favours.
It'd be interesting to see who we take because there's still plenty of key position depth and Ruckman, Alec Dodson's still on the board. So if he slides,
clear best. And I said we might go a sneaky Ruckman. I know we've got Goad, big man Goad, and X has got another 8 years.
And big Test Teakle with actually a pre-season in him. We might see a bit more improvement.
Yeah, well, he's not in my best 23, I'll tell you that right now. But yes, he could improve. But
jeez, I tell you what, you've clipped him on the Instagram live, and now when he was about
I'm not clipping
just
him.
through the wall, he come out and thump you.
Yeah, well, yeah, he could have. that was a live option
for our listeners. We recorded out the front. Out at Arden Street in front of the massive logo.
Yes, we love the logo.
We do. And Charlie Comben was tuning in. He was live watching our Instagram live, and you clipped CCJ and
I didn't clip them. I just said they're not in my best 23.
You said that, I think you said they're not up to it. I think you.
No,
I was scared.
Not right. They're AFL players, and I'm not clipping them, but. They're not my best 23 at the moment.
We're in the gym, pumping the tunes, obviously getting the big workout, and I thought, geez, you might come out and get throttled here.
No. Well, what happened? Because you didn't save it.
Yeah.
So if anyone's now thinking, I wouldn't mind seeing that, and we can't even go back to say that I didn't really clip them.
Oh, you might have just said that I think you might have said he doesn't have a long-term future.
Yes, I think that's what I said.
But, we are still experimenting with that stuff, so stay with us. But thank you to everyone who did tune in and ask your draft questions. And, it was good to see some of the boys about.
It was. We saw Jai walking past just before we started filming. Ballaretti was out doing some promotional media stuff out on Arden Street, and we went out and had a kick.
We did.
Went out and found a ball.
It was a bloody
Carlton ball.
Filthy Carlton ball.
And it was one of those little junior ones. And it was half flat, and we were having a kick. The wind was blowing, and you said Brady was looking out the window.
Yeah, I think he thought, oh, geez, I might invest here with a late rookie draft.
Well, I went and nominated. But clearly, my kicking wasn't up to scratch. I did nail a really good drop kick.
All right, this is not all about you.
No.
Just some breaking news for...
But clearly, Brady wasn't impressed.
No. Breaking news for our AFLW fans. I've just got a notification. Emma Carney will play this weekend, so great news. We will do a preview later on in the week for our preliminary final clash.
Tomorrow afternoon.
Yeah.
So we haven't forgotten about the girls. Big game for them in the heat.
Exactly.
The sweltering heat.
Yeah, well, that's a whole... We'll get to that tomorrow.
We'll get to that tomorrow. AFL, look out.
So let's talk about your proposition for draft night, right? So live trading.
Oh, yes, player trading, like the NFL, NBA, they do it in all the American sports, I suppose they do. Not that we're trying to be America. But that would be, I think that'd be great, because if no one will slide, if we take player A and 3 other clubs want him, then come to us with some offers, baby. Well, and the player hasn't actually moved state or anything yet. It's all got to be done on the night, like live trading of picks. It'd just be live trading of players. So
just think last night we take FOS. He's got his North hat on.
Yep.
And then St Kilda coming off a
future first and
the Viking
pick 9.
And 2
because they could then trade the Viking. Yeah. So it'd be interesting. It'd be probably a bit hard on the players emotionally, but get over it. They're going to have a 10-year career, hopefully, and get paid big bucks. So, and they're not moving house. They're not packing their suitcase yet.
No, it's a big boy league, and
yeah,
it's something the AFL needs to work on in terms of trading as well. I'm not saying we should be able to trade players' states without that consent because we're not whether the financial side of it's not that high yet. But if someone nominates, I want to go like Dan Houston this year is a perfect example. Jason Horn-Francis a couple of years ago.
Yep.
If I want to go home to my home state, that's fine. We'll do it, but we'll do the deal that's best for us.
Yes.
And that's a big
That's
issue.
a different thing than draft night.
That's my other point.
No, that's another what we should be looking into. Absolutely, because the players have too much power. So let's give some power back to the clubs.
I like it.
And with future picks too. Like you could take a player that some team wants, they'll come armed with two future firsts and whatever else. Maybe a player they've drafted.
I'm surprised the AFL hasn't done it because it'd create a heap of drama and talk.
Draft night to go 6 hours, I reckon.
Already goes too long, in my opinion. One quick thing. Paul Curtis.
Yes.
I think he listens to the pod.
Yes.
I was speaking about him
I don't know if he does.
being in the mix as Baz's swaggerman.
Yes.
And what's he roll out with at training? 2 sort of NBA shooting sleeves, the camo blue and white.
Yes.
Paulie, I see you.
Yes.
It's a bit of an exclusive club, so we'll see if we can fit you in. You probably have to send in a nomination. But we've obviously got the Zoo and the Big Elvis. I mean, that's a lot of personality.
I think PC's he's got to go in.
Well, he's on watch.
He's
We're
on
keeping
watch.
our eye on him.
Well,
Our people will talk to his people.
Yeah, he's kicked 30 goals in the year. He's only 21. He's rocking the sleeves. He's got the natural swagger. He pushes off people.
He's got the bling in the ear too.
Yeah, he's got the bling. He's got the fend off. I don't know what more he has to do for you.
Yeah, well, I'll make a decision in the coming weeks. But anything else about the draft you want to speak about?
No, that's it. Well, has there been any reaction to my other suggestion?
About the flag?
Yes.
People have been loving it.
Are they?
And we are getting more active on YouTube, people. So keep an eye on that. I did a video commentating about the Big X's chase because I love it.
Yes.
And I've watched it 100 times. And then we did one out the front of Arden Street.
Yes.
And just some backstory. So you called the club. It was around Good Friday, I can remember. Because
Yeah.
I called the club as well to contact them about something else. They said they'll get back to me. You called them about the idea of a flag. So obviously, when you drive past Arden Street from the Sky Bus, you can see the club. It's a great location, but you wouldn't know it's there.
No.
So a massive flag on the roof.
Massive flag on the roof. Wouldn't cost that much. You'd obviously have to get council approval and everything, but it's very doable. You see it all over the world, massive flags. And yeah, everyone, not just the tourists coming in looking at it, but everyone driving to and from work out that main freeway. And we're saying, here we are. This is our patch. We've been here 150 plus years, and we're going to be here another bloody 150 years.
We're not going anywhere.
We're not going anywhere. This is our patch. And whether you support us or not, we're here.
Exactly. And it'd help market the club and grow the club. And
it'd be great. All the tourists particularly coming in saying, what's that? Big kangaroo flag. Yes, we're in Australia. What's this kangaroo? What's this Shimbona spirit?
Yeah, we've been to America plenty of times, and you drive past one of their sports stadiums, and they're ginormous.
Yeah, massive flags.
You know who's playing in that city.
Yeah, and this is our turf. You're driving into Marvel, and you're going past the big flag on the Shimbona, home of the Shimbonas, and you think it's going to be a tough day because we're in their territory.
And especially with the Arden Street developments that are going on,
Yes.
there's going to be a lot more traffic going through there, a lot more population through there. You just got to... It staggers me they haven't done it already.
Yeah, we walked out to Arden Street, and we think it's this way, and we found it. But if there was a massive flag there, it would have been like a beacon. It would have been like moths to the flame.
And on the front of the building, there's the home of Shimbona Spirit
Yep.
sign, and that needs a real
That's been
redo.
very faded in the sun. So yeah, let's get some
We offered our services.
paint onto that.
Yeah, we offered our services to
Yep.
go over and do it.
Yep.
But that's
Just little things, but big things come.
exactly.
We've got to build ourselves as not just a little niche club, but a big club with passionate supporters.
And that's an easy way to get more supporters, more members.
Yep.
I just don't understand why they haven't done it. And they didn't return your call back from Good
No,
Friday.
that's why I had to go live on YouTube. But yeah, they didn't return the call, so that's fine.
next time you got to say, listen, it's the Big Chief. It's not your real name. It's the Big Chief.
Yeah, I use my real name. I'll say it's the Big Chief from the Shimboners podcast. And I probably still won't return the call.
Okay.
Anyway.
Who the hell's who from where?
Yeah.
Right, before we go, a little bit of waffle, because I've had some messages
Yes.
from our listeners. Too serious lately.
What?
They want a bit more waffle back.
Oh, right.
So we've brought waffle today. It's
Yes.
only a short one.
Okay.
But I'll pass it. I'll give you the handball. Ben Cunnington out of a clearance handball
Yep.
to lead us in.
We're talking about our recent Melbourne trip. It wasn't just going, we had a massive day, didn't we? We went to Arden Street and did the live stream, which you didn't save, so no one can ever watch that.
It's about 45 minutes.
No
Rundown, nothing. It's like being naked.
Exactly. And then we had a kick on the hallowed turf of Arden Street. And then we went, for the reason we went to Melbourne, was Alkaline Trio, back to back. And one of our favourite bands. Great set list, wasn't it? A bit of speaker trouble at the Forum.
Oh, my ears still hasn't recovered.
Speaker, we were front row. We're sort of pole sitters, aren't we?
Yeah.
Well, we were front row both nights, up on the rail. And it was fantastic. And then tell us about the second night. What happened?
Yeah, so the second night went again. You got the set list.
Oh, I
which
forgot about that.
You're pretty pumped with.
Pretty pumped. Handed by the great man, Matt Skeever. There you go, Big Chief. The set list for you. And then Adam, who absolutely smashes the drums. Love it. Love it. You know he's in the house, don't you?
He gave you a drumstick that was
gave
snapped.
Gave me a drumstick. Well-worn drumstick. And I was over the moon. But then it only got better.
It did. So then afterwards we rolled out and one of the other fans said, do you want to come and meet the band? And we were just going to go for a quiet froth or something.
Yes.
We said, all right. So we followed her around and then waited about 15, 20 minutes. And then they came out, the great men, the Alkaline Trio. And one of my personal favourites of all time, Matt Skeever. Getting to meet him was fantastic.
Yeah, not normally a fanboy or a selfie type operator, but we couldn't pass up the moment and get a selfie with the band.
It was awesome, wasn't it?
Yes, fantastic. And they were really, really humble, nice, relatable people.
Yeah, none of these...
the big punk band. Are they punk? What are they? Alternate rock?
Yeah, it's a bit of a mix.
Bit of a mix. They're great. They're great music. Anyway, if you haven't listened to them, get on board. Go with Molly Meldrum now. You wouldn't even know who he is. Do yourself a favour.
Well, I only know he goes for the Saints. That's about
He does, and he wouldn't be happy with no midfielders.
I still think that's hilarious. And throughout the whole draft, I've got a lot of mates that go for St Kilda. Just staring the shit out of them.
Yeah.
And one of my mates in particular, he's a real stickler for he hates that they draft athletes, right?
Yep.
And you don't draft athletes, you draft footballers.
Yep.
And so when pick 8 came out, Toby, what's his name? Travolgia.
Yeah, whatever it is. Yep.
And the big thing with him was his 2K time trial. He straight up spewed. He was as flat as a tack. And he's not a massive draft follower. So then when they got the Flying Viking, I said, look, this bloke played with a broken back just about. So he's a proper nose in the trough, a lot of hard operator. So he's a bit happier then, but I did find it funny.
He's a competitor, apparently.
That when they got... his big thing was the 2K time trials.
Yeah. We're not going to the Olympics. The Olympics will last, earlier this year. And, big kudos to you. Apparently, Brady wasn't there. He should have been at the first night. Because someone had very solid jukes. Yeah. I forgot to mention, you caught the set list from night 1.
Yeah, got the jukes
So
out.
we got both set lists.
Yeah, we did well. We came away very well. But I think that's enough waffle. Just slowly wedge a little bit of it back in when requested.
Yes. So the set list, for those who may not know, they have in front of each member the songs they're going to play in order. And they're taped down to the floor, and then at the end of the show, they pick them up and throw them to the crowd. Or hand them to the big church. when you're very special.
Oh, dear. Right, we might wrap it up there because it's getting a bit too much. I might call Dennis and get him on the pod because all I'm hearing from you is me.
Oh, it's I. But anyway, yeah.
And Dennis would not be happy.
No,
He'd be running...
I'll be like Foss's old man. You go for a run, go that way, and don't come back. There's no return ticket for you.
Oh dear. It just makes me think of the story where David King got nominated for the All-Australian team and he was pretty happy with himself at training, and Dennis absolutely rinsed him. Well, that is a fantastic story. We're going to get Kingy on one day to tell that story because it is brilliant.
He'd be a great get. One of my all-time favourites too. He was a competitor.
Yeah, he might listen to this, and he's used to the big lavish operations at first crack, and he'd be, Liz, what's this shit? That's what he'd be thinking. But all right, well, like I mentioned, we will be back.
Yes.
In the next 24 hours to do a preview of our Mighty Roo girls. We haven't forgot about them. Preliminary final against Port Adelaide coming up this Saturday in the extreme heat, which I will touch on more tomorrow, my thoughts about that. But
and we'll review night 2. We've still got more shin boners to select.
Well, exactly right. So plenty more content coming from us. Appreciate all your support. If you wouldn't mind following the podcast, subscribing, whatever you're listening to, leave us a review or rating on whatever you're listening to, and we'll read it out on the pod. But that's just about us done.
Yes, thanks for listening. A lot of waffle today, but goodbye from me and Kana Kangas.
Thanks for your continued support. See you tomorrow. Go Roos!
Good old North Melbourne, the champions you'll agree. North Melbourne is the team that plays to win for you